I cleaned my face. I washed my face and moisturised and stuff this morning before I left for the school run because I went for a walk. And obviously, you know, SPF, etc. But I feel like I need to refresh if I'm going to put on makeup. I'm just feeling so groggy at the moment. I think it's the weather. I don't know. But I thought we'd have a little chat because I think a little inconsistent would be the nicest word to put it. A little bit kind of like MIA on this channel for probably the last month. I've not been completely myself, I would say. And if you watch my vlogs, you'll know there's been kind of, I've been in a bit of a funk. Morning, Tracy. And I think sometimes it's worth discussing that over here as well, because you don't necessarily watch those vlogs. And whenever I talk about it, I get such a response of like, I wish people would talk about it. This is how I'm feeling. And I feel like I'm losing my mind a little bit. And the more people that share how they're feeling, I think the more we feel, Nikki, this is so weird. So I nearly messaged you the other day because I was like, what has happened to Nikki? I felt like she dropped off the face of the earth. Also, it's a bit warmer today because that ice melted immediately. I've been taking these multivitamins. I don't think that they do anything. I've been taking them, this is my second jar, and I've been taking them for like a couple of months. I bought the gummy ones because I'm a child. And I don't know, you know. So I use this serum, Summer Fridays CC Me Serum. Oh, I've just realised how obnoxious the chewing sound is going to be. Apologies. And then I'm using this Fenty Skin. Neither are particularly cheap. The Summer Fridays CC Me Serum, this is brand new to me. I've only been using it for about a week. Quite expensive. I bought it in my FabFitFun box. It was a pick. And I've always wanted to try Summer Fridays products because they tend to be quite highly rated. I can't tell you whether or not I would purchase that again yet. The Fenty Skin, what is this called? Something Visor, Hydra Visor or something. I don't even think it says it anywhere on the packaging. But I think, oh, it says remove refill for product information. So I have to pop out the thing. I think it's called the Hydra Visor. I would buy this again. This is SPF 30 in it. It feels really hydrating. It smells really nice to me. It's kind of like fruity. I said before that some of the products smell like vanilla kisses, and now I don't know whether or not, you know, like the impulse spray. Now I don't know if it's because I'm like mixing it with the Summer Fridays product, but my hands smell fruity, but it's a nice smell, whatever it is. And I feel like it hydrates, it absorbs quite nicely. I even like it just on my skin like this. I think it makes my skin look nice. That's just me. But it's also got SPF 30. So I haven't been doing my SPF 50 every single day, but I'm quite enjoying the process of having this. So just putting it out there. That's kind of been my prep. And a foundation product that I have recently rediscovered is this Fit Me by Maybelline. Love this so much. I loved it way back when. I have fallen back in love with it recently because it's so skin-like. And it's a product that you can build up, you can get quite a good amount of coverage with it, but it really does make me feel like it's a natural, it doesn't, like other products recently we've talked about, how I feel like nothing's working very well. Like it'll cling and everything looks a bit strange. I'm not finding that with this at all. It just kind of melts into the skin. And as it suggests on the thing, matte and poreless. It's just like, it's very skin-like. And I just like a little bit of it to even things out. And I like to put it on shortly after moisturising. You can get a much higher coverage than I'm putting on now. I just kind of want a little bit of something. Okay, let me catch up. Feeling constantly anxious at the moment, probably about the world reopening. You want it to reopen, but it freaks me out all at the same time. Completely feel the same way. Hard hard to find a facial moisturiser with SPF 30 or above, such limited options. Totally agree with that as well. I really, really like the Fenty one. I feel like because the pump gives such a small amount of product, I think I'm going to use this for a long time without having to replace it. So although it's expensive, I think I'm really going to get a lot from it. Also, that was gifted to me, but I would purchase it myself. It's the one of the things that I've been really most enjoying. Have you tried Fenty setting spray? No. I've just got myself into therapy again because I've been really struggling for quite a while now. It's time to do something about it, so fingers crossed. I think so many people are feeling this exact same way. So, you know, well done for actually being able to go out and find yourself some help. I think it must be really hard, even as an adult. I feel when I am in this kind of like, zone, that no one's going to take me seriously. I've only been once with anything mental health related, and I really did feel like I was fobbed off. And so that really put me off ever going and seeing any kind of professional. I'd be more inclined to go privately, but I am in a very privileged position where I could afford to do that if I needed to. But I also am very interested in like online therapies. I've got hair in my eye. Online therapy options that there are now. I think that's really interesting. Hopefully just the whole thing is become a bit more accessible. I'm anxious because I love working from home and not going outside, and I don't want it to end. So I feel exactly the same way as that. And that's not something that I would ever have imagined is how I would feel. The option's been there for quite a while for me to go back to work as and when. We have to book in advance. Everything at my workplace is like really, really well organised. There's no reason to be concerned about going. But I just now want to be home. And I might be going back into work tomorrow. I'm undecided as to whether or not I'm going to do it, but I've booked a desk. Because I do feel like having that little bit of routine and making myself go out to work will make me less scared of making plans and doing things. Currently, the only plans that I've had have really been very, very minor, like going to someone else's house or going like out to dinner and immediately home. I don't like the idea of like an open-ended plan currently. That makes me really, really nervous. Like there's been a couple of times where friends have said, do you want to go out for the day to this place? And I, of course, yeah, that sounds great, but I don't like the idea. It is, and I don't know if this is just me, but it's the thing of feeling like I'm going to be stuck somewhere. And it's weird because you're not stuck, but I think all of the restrictions in my mind have manifested themselves into like, if you go outside, you're not safe and you're not free. And so the whole time I'm outside, if I'm without my car, or if there's like, well, we don't know where we're going to go, or we don't know what we're going to do, we have no specific plan, we're just going to see what happens when we get there, that stresses me out so much because we don't know, we aren't necessarily free to live that way anymore. So I really don't enjoy open-ended plans currently. We're thinking of going to Edinburgh for Ella's birthday at the very end of August, beginning of September, and I really want to go, but and also that going to Edinburgh, Lee wanted to go to London. Edinburgh is more appealing to me because everything's like walking distance. We could just walk back to the hotel whenever we want. I feel safe that I have somewhere to retreat to. But I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Always feel better when I actually go into work rather than work from home, but always feel anxious before going. See, I didn't feel better. I liked seeing people. I know for a fact I was less productive when I went into the office last. I'm much more productive here. I've got into a routine. I put something on my iPad or on my phone that I've watched a million times before, just like white noise in the background, and I'm like way more focused at home. In the office, I'm like talking. It's not where I'm supposed to be. I can't even get into my initial rhythm of like, right, so what do I do first? Put me out into a completely different environment, which now the workplace is, and I just go to pieces. And so I feel like I want to go into work, but also I know that then will have a knock-on effect for the rest of my days in the week because I'll need to catch up. It's frustrating. I feel this totally. I finally went to the doctors and got help. I'm on month 3 of anti-anxiety medication and it's changed my life. Someone recently recommended to me a medication that they said was good for like nerve pain, and that happens to also be an anti-anxiety medication. I just don't. Oh my God, Nikki, totally. The thought of not being within 10 meters of a toilet is terrifying. Yes, yes, totally, 100% feel that in a big way. I've become very attached to just like my own personal amenities. It's just, we're going to have to relearn the world, aren't we? Basically the situation, I swear, because we've been talking about work. In my mind now, I can hear the Teams. Do anyone of you use Teams? You know that like boom, 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 boom. I can hear it. I know it's not going off. My computer's right next to us. I know it's not doing it, but I can hear the Teams noise. It's so ridiculous. It's like P-Teams FD. I've got some issues, clearly. Went for a walk this morning and had to find a quiet, secluded space to squat because there were no toilets nearby. Jasmine, I swear. I mean, I took a coffee with me, so maybe that was a mistake, but I went for a walk this morning and I was like, halfway through my walk, I thought, I'm going to have a wiener bush. As an adult, I don't know if that's ever happened. Now, I didn't. But I think what it was under normal circumstances, you're prepared to hold it. You can like, you're cool. And I think it was panic. I completely think that it's panic. It was the idea that I couldn't just pop into a local place. Whereas previously, if you're out for a walk and there's like, I mean, there were cafes, restaurants, the cinema, there were tons of places nearby. And I just have in my mind now that you can't just pop into somewhere because everything's off limits. It's just how it feels. Also, I've got two new, I've got these that I haven't tried yet. I'll show you. How cool is that? These new blushers. Maybe I'll try one of these. Oh, I think I'm probably going to go for the orangey one. Of course I am. Of course I am. These are so super cool. I also bought this and I've still not used it. I got this in a FabFitFun too. I hear my Teams pinging. You look and there's nothing. Yeah, I swear to God. I think I hear the bing, bing, that noise. I just hear it in my sleep. I swear to God. Some issues with mental health services. Completely agree. I've gone for myself. Lee's been for himself. I've tried to access some mental health stuff for the children in recent years, and it all feels like a completely pointless endeavour. And I think I've just lost faith in that element of the health service. I love the National Health Service. It's just I would be the last person to now reach out through a GP for that kind of help. Yeah, just generally actually help in any way. Ella's currently got some, like, we don't really know what it is, but she's been struggling with something for, not mental health wise, but like actual physical health wise, for quite a while. And well, months and months and months and months, and she's sent like samples of things, and we're going back. We've had multiple things of antibiotics, and it just feels like you're being fobbed off constantly. And I've had some issues personally with like my back pain, you know, like the frozen shoulder thing and the weird wrist stuff. And Lee's like, you should call. And in my mind, I'm thinking, but I need to get this thing sorted out with Ella first, because I don't want them to think I'm one of those people that calls all the time and to discount everything that is going on with her. Because in my mind, we're the same person. And I assume if you call too much, then they don't take you seriously. And I can tell you that's not necessarily true, because Lee calls all the time. Lee is like a hypochondriac and has like standing appointments with the doctor, and he gets all of the treatment, which is really frustrating. Do you know, I keep saying I'm okay with my pigmentation, but then I'll see it in certain lights and be like, that's really quite dark. You can see here, more so than I can see in the mirror. I think it's really like, I would quite like to get it resolved. I think this year I'm probably going to go for some laser once the summer is over and we're out of the sun more. I know, you know, still SPF every day, but once it's less, I think I'm going to probably go and sort something out, because I would quite like to get rid of that. I don't even know what my face would look like without it anymore. like weird permanent. And over here, I've got it like, you can see where my scar is because it's like I've got a patch of pigmentation around it. And I think that's new. Oh my God. As a mum under 2, I went on a trampoline last week. Big mistake. How's the 10,000 steps a day going? I need to find the motivation to do the same. Brilliantly. Haven't missed a day. I was so hungover yesterday and I still did my 10,000 steps. Even if I have to do them inside, which I do. I used to be such an extrovert, but then went to pot earlier this year when I had a nervous breakdown. Owing to DV. I don't know what DV is. Now I won't leave the house. Well, see, this is another thing. Like, I love to be around people. And I definitely do gain energy from being around people. I miss people. I don't miss places. I don't miss being out in the world, I think is the main thing. Oh, okay. No, I couldn't have even guessed DV, which again is another privilege. Wow, that's incredible. I mean, understandable entirely. I'm gonna have to do a separate video on like cream things because I don't think that was a great example of how to use this. I was just kind of like chatting and using it. Before the panic I couldn't be in the house. I'd be out every day and being inside was worse for me, but now I can't go anywhere without my boyfriend. I can't imagine. It would be, I understand the thing of like the in the house thing. You kind of become, I swear to God, I can hear the Teams. What is it? I can hear the Teams noise in the distance. I think it's kind of like something's hitting something. It's like a bell or something. We become kind of, is institutionalized the right word? Just so used to being home that it is just, oh, the pandemic, not the panic. You just get so used to what you're used to, whatever it might be. And in our instance now, it is just being home all the time, that it feels really wrong and uncomfortable to be doing anything else. I'm really not into leaving the house very much anymore. But I am getting better with this whole like getting out of the house and doing all my steps. That's making a really big difference for me. I don't enjoy walking with other people because I'm quite a speedy walker. I don't like leisurely paced walkers. I don't understand it at all. I want to get out, do whatever I'm going to do and go home. I'm not like, we're not walking for fun, people. Of course. So since I've been walking by myself for the first time in I don't know how long, because always it was like someone had to force me to go for a walk, or I was walking with the dog, which again, it's not a quick thing because they stop and smell every single tiny piece of everything. Manny could go like for half a mile and it'll be 3 hours. And getting out of the house completely by myself every single day has made the world of difference as to how I'm feeling about getting out of the house. I'm trying to go different places as well. So like before I pick up the kids or after I've dropped off the kids in the morning, in the afternoon, whatever, I'm like driving out to somewhere, walking around that area and then going on to do whatever I'm going to do, so that I'm not constantly just walking around near me, because then I feel like I'm also showing myself this is the world and it's not as scary as you're imagining it, because it's not. And I was never that person. It's just I have become nervous of the world. I'm actually watching you and putting off going for a speed walk. Put me in your ears. Keep going. Anyone interested in getting more active but worried about the way that social media tells you to do it or how to look should look into Have a Goes on Facebook. The Have a Goes on Facebook and Insta, inspirational and normal. So this was a big part of it. Someone's asked me what I listen to. Podcasts. I don't listen to music while I walk. Podcasts or audiobooks. This was a massive thing for me. I was in such a, I was just like, I wanted to cry all the time. I was coming home, I had no motivation. I felt constantly like I was failing because I wasn't doing the stuff that I was supposed to be doing. Like, I was missing videos. I was just like, I have the time to do this stuff and you're not doing it. You're being so lazy. You're not being productive, and that's a big trigger for me. And I wasn't even enjoying the downtime. So I wasn't doing stuff that I was supposed to be doing, but I was just really beating myself up about it. And I decided one day, enough. I need to make a change. I'm going to go for a walk and try and clear my head and see how I'm feeling. And that was last week sometime, and I've done 10,000 steps every day since. And I can't explain to you how much better I feel when I've done the 10,000 steps. When I've like been out, like I've done my 5,000 this morning. I went straight after the school run and walked around the lake. After I filmed my stuff, when I go to get the kids, I'm going to do another little walk around the area near school just to try and get them in again. I'm feeling so great walking. I'm just walking. Doesn't feel like exercise, but I know I'm moving my body. I know that I'm getting fitter, but almost by accident. And I'm listening to stuff that I used to not make time to listen to anymore. And it's not about fitness or changing the way I look. It's purely about moving my body and making me get out of the house. And like lots of people said to me at the time when we were talking about it on vlogs, as soon as you take out the fitness element, as soon as you take out the weight element or the fact that you're trying to change your body, it becomes a completely different thing. Like in your mind, you're not forcing yourself to do this because people have told you you don't look the way you should or whatever. It's not like a punishment. It's more, you're doing this for your body. You're not doing this because you hate your body. You know? I have a dog, so no choice but to walk him. Right, so that's another thing. I had a couple of people kind of like mock me a little bit because we've got a dog, so of course, why am I not walking every day? And I'll tell you why. 2 reasons. Walking Manny is already, he's quite a little dog, and he can't really walk for mass amounts of time because he's got a flat face and his breathing would be very, very laboured if we went for like a really long walk with him. Another thing is he's got an issue with his back legs where he has to wear like socks, like rubber socks at the moment because he drags his feet and he was literally grinding down his paws. So he has to wear these special socks and he's not totally coordinated in the back. He's going to have some scans. It's a whole thing. So he can't go for long walks anyway. And the third thing is walking the dog is Lee's mental health break. Lee is big on exercise for mental health and massive on routine and having to do. If I walked the dog and then Lee got home, he would walk the dog again because he's like, that's his habit. He would not thank me. If I do something for him that's part of his routine, it like throws him all out of whack. So it wouldn't be a great thing to do. We didn't take the dog for a walk together because during lockdown, felt like that was Lee's time. He would put in his headphones and walk. And that was, like, Lee would invite me sometimes, but it was his thing. And I felt like I would maybe be encroaching on his alone time to listen to the podcast he wanted to listen to and to do his little routine. And so that's why. And Manny is not a dog who could be taken out for like a ton of walks a day. If he was like a big Alsatian or something, then yeah, great, but he's not. So that's why. Okay, and we're talking about masks. So many people don't wear their masks properly or they wear them the wrong way. Totally. Hands up who's going for a walk after this. It's not that easy to do 10,000 steps. Well done. Thank you. You have to really consciously be trying to get the 10,000 steps in because I just walked all the way around the lake. That was 2 miles and that was only 5,000 steps. So I need to do another 5,000. Although you can do 2,000 or 3,000 like in the house, cleaning, darting up and downstairs. I'm quite like an active-ish person within the house. I'm always like running around. My dad was always saying like, why are you rushing around? Like, this is just how I live. So just general stuff in the house, you can kind of get a few thousand in. I can't tolerate when people do stupid things at work anymore. I can't help when I'm back in the office. Okay, the dog. I know what you mean. Mine's a large breed, quite young and hyper, so he's very different to a small dog. Sometimes I don't really want to walk him. Audible and audio revision helps. Audible is fantastic. I can't count dog walks as exercise either. Too slow and too much sniffing. Yes, totally. How are you feeling wearing the Apple Watch? You've always said you would be annoyed by it. So the only reason, and I will tell you, it's one of the things that I feel I should say, and yet it's such a douchey thing to tell you. But someone sent me this Apple Watch. If you still watch me now, thank you, because I'm using it tons now. So I talked about this years ago, and I said I was thinking of getting an Apple Watch, but I didn't know whether or not I would use it very much. And someone contacted me and said they had an Apple Watch from like the very beginning of time, when Apple Watches became a thing, and they'd hardly ever worn it, and it had been sat in a drawer. She didn't even know if the battery worked, but it had just been kind of like sat, ignored. Ooh, my face is a little dry. Didn't enjoy that powder. And would I like it? And I offered her money and she wouldn't take it, and she sent me this Apple Watch. And honest to God, who does that? That was so kind. And I tried to wear it at the time, and I found it really difficult to get into a habit of charging it every day, because I'm not someone who takes off my jewellery, everything I'm wearing. Like, I took off my arrow necklace, I don't know, a month or so ago, because I was testing out a fake tan. And then I just never put it back on again. I know exactly where it is, because I'm very careful with it now. But I couldn't remember to take off and put on jewellery all of the time. So that's the problem I had with the Apple Watch. I now am in the habit, because I keep the cradle in the kitchen. So once I've done my 10,000 steps, because I'm basically just using it as a pedometer, this is the main reason that I'm remembering to put it on every day. Once I've done my 10,000 steps, I take it off, I go and put it on the cradle. In the morning when I make coffee, it's right there. I remember to put it back on again. And because I'm so in my head about, we're going to do the 10,000 steps a day, that is my little thing I've promised myself I will do. It's not that difficult. I'm not annoyed by wearing the watch, but I am annoyed by the fact you have to charge it. So, you know. What are you doing today? Going to sort out some garden stuff. I am filming some things because I've been very lazy. Very, very lazy in the filming department. I just haven't been able to, like, get it together. It's the one thing I used to. I used to film so many videos in a week. I would have like 1 or 2 days to get it all done. I did everything. I have completely lost motivation. I think I've just kind of lost confidence in the whole thing. I'm like, what's the point? So few people watch the videos these days compared to how many people used to watch the videos. There's more money in YouTube at the moment. It's a weird post-pandemic thing, or mid-pandemic thing, where advertisers are paying more. I'm not making less money, but I'm getting a lot less views. And for me, that's where the self-esteem comes. Like, views, comments, actual engagement in the videos is 100% what I'm in it for. The money is great. It's it's the thing that keeps me from packing it in some days, because some days I'm like, what's the point? And I think, well, you know, it is a second job, and so you should continue. And I've always been glad when I've talked myself around, because I'm like, I would miss this so much. I would miss this so much. But there are definitely days where I feel like I don't want to do this anymore, and that will put me back in. And then there are days where I feel like I'll never stop doing this, regardless if the money dries up completely, because it's like a diary. Oh, it's so weird. It's such a strange thing. I tried to explain to people what YouTube is like as a lifestyle, because it is a lifestyle. It's forever. It's always. It's like having friends in your pocket. It's so weird. But it also comes with a certain amount of expectation and self-motivation that when you're missing that, there's nobody there to be like, you're slacking. You need to pick it back up again. And you kind of go through phases of telling yourself, well, you know, the whole point of this is don't do it unless you want to do it. But I think, you know, as with so many things, the longer you go without doing something, the easier it is to let it go completely. And I don't want to do that, because I think I'd miss it. That said, I have said a million times, I think vlogs are the permanent thing. Like, there'll always be vlogs. I think at the moment, the struggle is nobody really cares about makeup and buying things. I mean, I don't want to be buying things that I don't need, which is why we have the series on the no buy and like reining in the spending. But because we're in a weird world right now where everything I was talking about previously is not really relevant, it feels like, well, so what's the point? What is the point? There isn't any point. There was never really a point. But do we really want makeup reviews? I don't know. I don't know. Oh, Apple Watch. I wear mine all the time. Used to track how crap I am at sleeping and charge on the arm of the sofa when I sit down at night to watch TV. That's smart. Some days I manage 18,000 steps, but I'm always at 3,000. Only at 3,000 at the moment, having a bit of a hump day. 18,000 is fantastic. I actually think I might start, if I can manage to do the 10,000 all the time, I might start on the weekend trying to do like a Saturday or Sunday where I do like 20,000. Keeping a watch charger in the car is a great way to charge it. Wow. I guess in a way it's a creative outlet, fun, but when you're not feeling it can be hard. Yeah, totally. It's YouTube is so much fun when it's fun. And then as soon as you feel like you have to do it, well, the fun is sucked out of it. You know? It's hard when YouTubers go away. Like, you've been in my life for 7 years. It's strange to not hear your voice every week. I have to tell you, I feel totally the same way. There are certain people who I watch, especially vlogs. Like, I enjoy like a makeup video. I enjoy watching people talk about things. That's why my Friday faves and fails are like some of my absolute favorites, because you just sit and talk. It's just like, oh, let me tell you about all the things from this week. It's a bit like going to coffee with a friend and being like, so what's new? I'll tell you what's new in the last week. Let me tell you all these things. They are some of my favorite, if not my favorite videos to film. The Friday kind of like, But I don't feel really passionate currently about reviewing makeup. I don't feel really passionate about hauls and shopping. And I'm just kind of having, I suppose, a minute of a crisis of confidence in like, so then what? The vlogs I really enjoy. I like kind of rough and ready, daily, here's what's happening. And that's the stuff that I miss the most from people who I watch. When I really fall in love with someone on YouTube, I want to watch everything that they do, but the vlogs. And then when people go away and they stop doing it, I'm like, it's like a friend moving away and never speaking to them again. And I'm very conscious of that as a YouTuber, that I would never go away completely, because you fostered relationships. It's so weird, super weird. How about using things you already have at home for a pamper? You mean like as a video? Totally. But I feel like we've kind of exhausted these things, you know? Do you think you've seen these videos? I don't know. I'm really kind of going through it at the moment, like, but it's also a phase, because once everyone is, let's say in another 12 months, everything will be different again. Everything we all want will be different. Everything I want to do, everything I want to share, everything I want to talk about, everything I want to watch on YouTube, everything you want to watch on YouTube, in 12 months, completely different ballgame. And so I feel at the moment we're just kind of like riding a wave. I now work on the verge of promotion. I couldn't even go to the shop at one point. I work. Oh, and on the verge of promotion. No, I don't quite get it. Do you mean you were at home and now you've gone into the office and you're on the verge of promotion? Is that what you mean? I'm trying. I have a Fitbit that my cat has taken and hid somewhere 3 months on. I still haven't found it. Along with the socks and underwear she takes off the era. Oh my goodness, imagine. You might just find them in a hole or something. Someone, please, Homebird, explain. I'm missing something. Right, I'm going to try this. Do you know what? I had in my mind that I'd bought a new... I've been having the most vivid dreams. I had in my mind that I'd bought a new lip liner. And the more I think about it, the more I think, that never happened. Last week, I had a super, super crazy vivid dream every single night. And I couldn't remember what they were in the morning. But you know when you wake up and you're like, I know that was nuts. You're like almost still stressed. So weird. I watched a show on Channel 4 this morning. You might like Save Well Spend Better. Totally my vibe. That actually used to be a show, some of you may remember, on, I think it was Channel 4, that was called Spendaholics. And that is why I called my old channel Diary of a Spendaholic. It was actually after a TV show. I was saying about a book that changed my life. I was too anxious to even leave the house. Ah, I missed the first part. First part. What was the book? Can you, I don't know if you can tell on camera from here, because it's obviously, it's not the world's greatest camera, I'm on my phone, but my lip line is like white. I have a white lip line around my lip. Anyone else? I look back at pictures of me wearing lipstick and no lip liner and I'm like, I don't know how I ever did that. Like, lip liner is everything. At Last Alive by Paul David. Okay, well, I'm going to throw that definitely on my Audible. Speaking of TV, I would recommend watching Good Girls on Netflix. So good. Agreed. Completely loved it. It's been cancelled. Very upset. I'm just going to be like quiet for a minute because, you know, lip liner. Talk amongst yourselves. Especially because I do overdraw them. I've just got like no colour to my lips. I'm not tempted to tattoo them on though. At all. I do think that if I fix the pigmentation situation, because I've been thinking a lot. Oh, you were the one who messaged me about Impending Doom. Okay, I'm totally going to add that book to my Audible. I think if I got rid of the pigmentation, if I had some laser and got rid of that, I would feel at least 75% better about my 35-year-old face. Because I've definitely had moments during the pandemic, which I've shared with you guys, have been like, you know, I was always really anti-injectables and filler and everything. I was like I'm not interested at all in plastic surgery. I want to grow old gracefully. Not doing any of that. I'm really trying to rally against it internally. And then this past kind of 6 months plus, I've really looked at my face a lot and been like, you look older than I thought you would look at this age. And there's this and there's that. And I don't like seeing my makeup free face a lot more than I used to. I think a big part of it is this is aging. The little marks that I have, I think they are aging. And if I can get laser and it all becomes a little bit more even and clear, I think I might feel better. I think it's like a fake it till you make it. I kept being like, it's fine. I have no problem with it. I think I have a problem with it. Oh my goodness. Nikki, I loved Luca so much. I explained to Milo at the end, I was like, because I was like, this is a cute movie. And then the very, very end where the old women put the umbrellas down and they're the fish things, I was like, and I was going to Milo, and I didn't think it was okay. He's like, I swear, I'm like making myself cry thinking about it now. I was like, that whole time, they thought they had to hide it. I was like, crazy. And Milo's not getting it at all because obviously he's brought up in a world where, well, of course, it's fine. It's really strange to try to explain to a 9-year-old who I've brought up with all of the tolerance. It's hard to explain to them a world in which things aren't okay because all he's ever known is that of course everything's okay, which is great and fantastic. And that's how you want it to be. But you also need them to acknowledge that you need them to know that it hasn't been okay. Because it's a little bit like the racism of things of we grew up with like, well, you don't see colour. And that in itself is problematic. And so I now feel I have a little bit of work to do in that I've brought him up to show everyone's equal. This is all fine. However you want to live your life. You know, this is all of this is great. But then you also need to teach them that is how it should be, but that is not how the world is. And so these people have had a struggle that you will never know. These people have had a different experience of life to you. And just because you know that everything is fine, nothing is wrong, everything is good, it doesn't mean that that has been their experience with everyone. And it's hard to explain that to a kid who has always grown up thinking everything, like there's no reason, like why would that even be a thing? Well, because it is for some people. It's tricky, you know? It's difficult. And yes, Milo is 9. Now, he's 10 in November. This year I'll have a 10 and 16-year-old, so I'm basically 55, is the thing. And so really, looking in the mirror, I should be like, I look okay for 55, right? I look good for 55. I'll take it. This is taking me forever to do my lips. Oh, yeah.